as I was reflecting on my own life and my own situation, I looked back and I was like, well, doesn't that mean that we're both immature? Because if I was so mature and I was so much better than this situation, I would be able to understand and see where this person was coming from and meet them with what they need. Emotional maturity is about meeting other people with what they need, meeting other people with what you wish you could have received. Emotional maturity really is a sacrifice of self. It's healing by doing the hard things. It is really healing by doing the hard things, because it's easy to have an outburst and it's easy to get upset. It's easy to be triggered. Like, these things are easy. It's easy to act on our triggers. It's easy to act on our anger. But what's hard is taking a couple seconds to rethink things. That's the hard thing to do. What's hard is taking a couple seconds to see the situation from the other person's POV. That's the hard thing to do. And that is what leads to real healing, by doing the hard things. And I think the same thing goes for emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is learned through doing the hard things. And the hard things are self-sacrificial. The hard things are saying, you know what, this is not about me. You know what, I understand where she's coming from, because I've also been in a situation like that. And I'm going to do the hard thing by keeping my mouth shut. I'm going to do the hard thing by not meeting them with anger. I'm going to do the hard thing by being silent for 5 minutes. I'm going to do the hard thing by listening. I've noticed it in my life. Is like, that's what actually leads to change. It might not make sense in the moment, right? In the moment, you kind of have this inclination that you should be quiet and they should listen and all these good things. We have the inclination, right? There's something in our gut that is telling us to do that, but it isn't until we actually do it, even though it doesn't make sense, actually do it, take that leap of faith, that through that, we learn and we understand why it's important. Because let's be honest, you could be sitting here watching this video and I'm telling you that you need to do X, Y, and Z. You need to take a couple minutes to listen. You need to do, you need to take a couple minutes to listen. You need to be slow to anger. You need to be quick to listening. I could tell you all those things, but it isn't until you actually do it. It isn't until you actually do that hard thing that you're going to learn firsthand exactly what it is you need to learn. Because that's the thing. The lesson you might need to get from it is not what Sally's lesson is not what Harry's lesson is not what Abby's lesson is. I might go into that situation doing the hard thing and learn something completely different than you. You know why? Because it's spiritual. There's something within doing the right thing that is spiritual. Okay? I can't explain it. I can't tell you the ins and out of it, but that is essentially what faith is. Like, is that not what faith is? It's not knowing it's not directly knowing what the outcome is going to be, but trusting that it will be good. And you're not going to know what that good is. You're not going to know the understanding that comes from that, but it's trusting and believing that there will be a good outcome from it. And that's what faith is. That's what healing is. That's how we get to a point of being emotionally mature. By doing the hard things, by giving people what we would want to receive. That is the hard thing. You know, for most of my life, I have been late. For most of my life growing up, I was late to everything. I remember going into elementary school and every single, I'll be honest with you, 4 out of 5 mornings, I was late. And I remember growing up, and you would have some of those teachers that they just despised the late kid. They were just, you'd come in late and they'd make you feel it. They punish you for being late. And I understand it. I also remember having those teachers where I would come in late. I'm disrupting the classroom. I'm in the wrong. I know, like, I'm late. You know, this is a bad habit. I'm late. I know. But the teacher would give grace. The teacher would take an extra 5 minutes to explain what she had previously explained. She didn't have to do that because I was in the wrong and I was late, right? But the teacher would do that and they would give grace. And I think back on those times when I was younger and how much I appreciated those teachers that would take the extra time and give that extra grace that was not due, and the effect that it had on me. I was recently in a situation like this with one of my friends. We had planned to go to a yoga class actually, and you know, she was running late. She was actually running late to the point where she didn't even make the class. But, you know, that's it happens sometimes. Sometimes people are late, you know? And I remember being in that yoga class and I was like surrounded by everybody that was there who had their friends or came with their like boyfriends or their girlfriend or whatever. And everyone is having fun. Everyone's like partnered up. And I was just there by myself and I'm like, where's my friend? Like, we were supposed to come here together. And I get the text saying that she's, you know, she can't come in, the door's locked, whatever, she's not gonna make the class. And I remember feeling like triggered. I was angry because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why weren't you on time? Blah, 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 right? Obviously she's in the wrong, but I recalled that time when I was on that end and I was the one that was late. And, you know, a bad habit is a bad habit. Sometimes you can't control it, you know, definitely not in the moment. You can't control it. So there is no point on like harping on it. Like, why were you late? Why were you late? Why were you late? There's no point in doing that. You know, it already happened. But I remember recalling on that and I was like, you know what, Abby, like grace is due. Grace is due. Like, it's not about you. Because the first thing I wanted to do was get upset. The first thing I wanted to do was lash out a little bit. Like, really? You can't show up for a yoga class? Like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? What? Look, I'm over here struggling. I'm over here by myself when everyone else has some. We always try and turn things to ourselves. We're always focusing on self. And I think that's emotional immaturity. I think that's actually what brings us a lot of suffering when we're always looking at ourselves. It's like, it's not about you. Your friend being late to the class and leaving you on your own, it's not really about you. Like, look at it from a different perspective and start to see that like your friend also missed out on the class. Like, she missed out on the class. She didn't get to, you know, these classes aren't free. We pay for these classes. She missed it. That sucks. Does it suck as much as you being alone in this class? I would say so. And so it's literally taking a couple seconds to like give people grace and stop focusing on yourself. Stop focusing on yourself. The more that it is about you, the more that you are going to actually suffer. The more that, you know, it's been scientifically proven or psychologically proven that the more that you think about yourself, the more that you will suffer. Depression, anxiety, what causes it? Thinking of self. All I have to say is choose emotional maturity and choose to be, you know, choose to give people grace because you want to be the helping hand that you would have wanted to receive. And I think the lesson, you know what? No, the lesson I learned from that was a lot of the disagreements we have with people are just wasted air. It's like a lot of the things that we go back and forth about is just wasted air, and life would be so much more enjoyable if we just let things slide. And I know sometimes it's hard to let things slide, but you're gonna benefit from it. Like, I still have could you imagine if I had an outburst on this friend for something that small and we're no longer friends after that? Could you imagine? Like, a wasted friendship. I think sometimes people do that, is they will literally cut off their friends because they're like, oh, you're not on my level. Like, you can't do this. I would have never done that to you. I would have blah, blah, blah. I would have never treated you that way. And it's like, okay, but it's not about you, you know? And that's how friendships break apart. And it's like, well, now you just wasted an amazing person. Now you just wasted a beautiful friendship. Like, it's gone now. And all for what? Because you chose to focus on you when you could have gave them a little bit of grace. I'm not saying excuse crazy behavior, but I am saying to be patient. And I am saying to give people a little bit of grace, because I guarantee you when you're on the other side of that, which you will be in life, you're going to wish people gave you grace. You're going to wish people gave you grace. So give people the grace, give people the things that you wish were given to you. Okay? Don't be bitter and resentful. Nobody likes a bitter and resentful person. Nobody likes, and it doesn't really get you very far. It's a very short-ended stick to be bitter and resentful. So, I mean, if that's what you choose, then choose it. I wish you the best of luck. But from my experience, I haven't noticed it doing anything great. So, recently, a particular person from the past reemerged and came back into my life. It didn't really come back into my life, but just had messaged me. And throughout that conversation, we had a little bit of back and forth, just catching up with each other. And throughout that conversation, I was reflecting on my past relationship with this person. And there was a lot of emotional immaturity. And at that time in the past, I would have looked at it as they were the person being emotionally immature and they were the person that couldn't meet me where I was. But now being where I am today, I can kind of look back at that situation and see how conflict arises when there are two emotionally immature people. The second that one person in the situation is able to be emotionally mature, there is a sort of resolution, or there can be resolution between conflict or between two different people. There can be a meeting of the two, but it calls for that one person to be emotionally mature. Now, as I was thinking about that, I was like, okay, well, what does that really mean? Like, was I emotionally immature? Was I unable to meet this person? And I think what it really stems down to, emotional maturity being giving what you want to receive. I think when we start to look at emotional maturity through the lens of giving other people what it is we want to receive, we can get to a better understanding of what it means to be emotionally mature. And so I'll say for myself, I know what it feels like to take things personally because I am a sensitive person. I take a lot of things personally. A lot of things hurt my feelings. I know what it feels like to be triggered. Now, having this knowledge, having this understanding of myself, I can then understand other people. And so I know when other people are triggered or having an outburst, it's because there is a part of them that is not at ease. A part of them is triggered. Maybe you said something and they took it as an insult. That part of them, whether it's true or whether it's not, what they're feeling is real, and so they're triggered. Now, how I have responded in the past was immaturely. I would get upset at the person for getting upset at me. As I was reflecting on my own life and my own situation, I looked back and I was like, well, doesn't that mean that we're both immature? Because if I was so mature and I was so much better than this situation, I would be able to understand and see where this person was coming from and meet them with what they need. Emotional maturity is about meeting other people with what they need, meeting other people with what you wish you could have received. You know, sometimes I think that we have to look at our shortcomings or the things that we struggle with as blessings, right? The things that we struggle with give us deeper understanding, not only to understand ourselves better, but to understand other people. And so me now having this knowledge that, you know, maybe I said something and they're simply triggered, I can now soothe their anxiety. I can now soothe whatever it is. I can soothe their anger by one, not meeting them with the same anger. You know what I'm saying? Not meeting them with an eye for an eye. We got to meet them with what we would have wanted to receive in that situation. And maybe that is extra communication. Maybe that is extra reassurance to let them know, hey man, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean to offend you. What I was trying to say was this. And yes, does it take extra energy to do that? Yes. Does it take you going a little bit above and beyond what you normally would? Yes. But that is what heals, and that is what allows us to grow in emotional maturity. It comes down to this reoccurring theme of self-sacrifice. Is we have to sacrifice ourselves and our desires and what's comfortable for us in order for us to grow. That's how you learn to be more emotionally mature. The last thing I'll say is that when you practice doing the hard things and emotional maturity, you learn self-control. You learn self-control because you prime yourself and you teach yourself that what you're feeling doesn't always need to be expressed. And so when you're in other situations, that practice comes a little bit more naturally to you. When you're angry, you don't have to lash out right there. You don't have to say things that you don't mean. It teaches you to control yourself, to control your tongue. And these are all beautiful and amazing things that I guarantee you watching also strive for. Like, these are things that we put on our vision board. These are things that we want to work on, right? And it all starts from doing the hard things. It all starts from doing the hard things. Like I said before, do the hard things and it will reveal itself to you. It will unfold in exactly the way that you need it to. You're going to learn the lessons that are specific to you by doing the hard things. And so I encourage you to try and do this month of February, try and do the hard things. When you're in a moment of feeling triggered, when you're in a moment in the heat of anger, what is the hard thing that you can do? What is the hard thing? You're going to ask yourself that question and you're going to acknowledge it. And then whatever it is, you're going to muster up the strength to actually now do it. Okay? And then you're going to come back to this video and write in the comments what you learned from it. Because I guarantee you're going to learn something from it. Whether it be self-control, whether it be that love is always stronger, you're going to learn a life lesson from it that is specific to you. And I can't wait to hear it. We can't wait to hear it. Everybody watching this video can't wait to hear it. So get to doing the hard things and come back to the comment section and let us know. Because I know 100% you're going to learn a valuable lesson. You will, trust me. Do the hard things. It always pays off, man. It always pays off doing the hard things. I've noticed it in my life and I'm so grateful that I have the strength to do it. Not always, Not always. I don't always have the strength to do the hard things. Sometimes I choose chaos. I don't know why I do it. Every time I do, I think, why did I do that? Why did I have to choose chaos today? Lord have mercy. Whew. Now I got to pick up the pieces. I got to sweep, broom, mop. It's just a mess because I chose chaos. Okay? So leave the chaos. Leave the chaos behind and just go and do the hard things because you're gonna be so happy that you did. Thank you guys for watching this video again. Thank you for being here. I love you guys and I really do appreciate all your support. Thank you. Genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, please hit the subscribe button below and like this video so that I continue to make more of them. I am going to leave my link for my Substack below. Don't forget to subscribe to my Substack as well, where you can get weekly newsletters, weekly and monthly newsletters. And I will see you guys in another video. Peace and love and bye for now. Mwah. I love you guys so much.